Do people prefer AI writing and pictures over content produced by humans? I'm going to present you with a few studies and the results are going to shock you. First, we're going to look at how people feel about AI generated images. Then we'll move into the overall preference of AI writing and even if people can be persuaded to make purchases based on AI writing. Let's break it down. This study conducted by Nexcess asks the question, can consumers tell the difference between AI and human-generated content? I just want to point out that they mention the software ChatGPT, Copy AI, and DALL-E here in the beginning, but don't make any distinctions of what tools they use for this study. None of the studies specifically state what AI software is being used. Getting to the details of the study, they used 1,000 participants, 41% of them male, 58% female, and the age ranges are pretty evenly distributed from 18 to 54 years old. They were shown image and copy sets and asked to choose which they thought were generated by AI. They also didn't use any images of people in this study. Across all demographic groups, they could identify the AI-generated content about 54% of the time. Take a look at the pictures of these bikes. Which one of these was generated by AI? If you chose the bike on the right, the orange bike, you're wrong. The bike on the left is generated by AI. In my opinion, they both look real, so don't feel bad if you got it wrong. The study goes on to say, respondents seem to struggle with our set of bicycle images. Most participants, 54%, selected the orange bicycle as AI generated when it was an actual photo. They talk more about the image test and find that younger participants, specifically those who were 18 to 24 years old, could more accurately identify AI content, answering correctly 61% of the time. And that drops pretty evenly going up to the 45 to 54-year-old bracket who answered correctly 50% of the time. The oldest bracket was the outlier. Those over 54 years old answered correct 52% of the time. However, they had significantly fewer participants in this age range and point to a study showing why the older population struggles to identify AI. Continuing to AI writing, it was easier for participants to spot AI-generated copy, 57% accuracy, than AI-generated images, 53% accuracy. This may have to do with the tone and structure inherent to AI writing. They talk about AI-generated copy being relatively easy to identify because of its cold, mechanical languages. They also tend to use awkward phrasing, almost like they're trying too hard to be human. I can agree with the awkward phrasing and words, but this also depends on what tool you're using or if you're using a rewriter. Another study conducted by SEMrush looks to see which content people preferred when given the option. Here's an example of an introduction for a blog post about cat food. The AI won 54% to 46%. In the other 5 battles, AI defeated humans at writing social media ads 70% to 30% and 54% to 47%. Writing a blog post paragraph 60% to 40%. Writing a social media post 65% to 35%. And writing a product description, 65% to 35%. The writer comments here, while the survey is interesting and surprising, it's important to note that while AI won on preference in this survey, that may not translate to actual performance, like traffic leads, revenue, rankings, and engagement. My question is, doesn't it though? If people prefer the AI written content on my social media, for example, at a rate of 70% to 30%, I would assume I have a better chance of them engaging with it. So I thought that was a strange comment because I would use whatever content my customers prefer. They also talk more about the participants surveying 700 people, half were male, half were female, Most of the participants were 25 to 44 or 55 and older. The other age groups accounted for less than a third of the total group combined. Here in the lessons learned, they found why people preferred the AI content. It quickly got to the point. It clearly highlighted value propositions and reader concerns. It was easier to read and understand. I can agree with all these reasons, especially the first one, because many human writers add so much fluff to everything, it makes me want to just stop reading. Just get to the point. This last study by MIT gauges how people perceive AI-generated content. They don't go into specifics of the study, but present some good information. For the study, the researchers created 2 tasks, writing marketing copy for 5 retail products and drafting persuasive content for 5 uncontroversial campaigns. Eat less junk food, for example. Then they implemented these in 4 different ways. For the human-only approach, they enlisted professional content creators from a consulting company to draft the marketing copy and campaign goals. The second, the augmented human approach, first used AI GPT-4 to generate ideas. Human consultants then shaped them into final products. Number 3, the augmented AI approach worked the other way, with humans creating drafts and AI being used to mold them into final products. And then the 4th way was only using GPT-4 to complete the task on its own. Participants in the experiment were recruited to evaluate the quality of this work and were split into 3 groups. One group knew nothing about the content creation process. The second group knew about the 4 different approaches but was told nothing more. And the third group knew which approach was responsible for each piece of content they viewed. 2 key insights emerged. First, when people had no information about the source of the marketing or campaign copy, they preferred the results generated by AI. AI is showing that it can be as good as or better than humans at these kinds of persuasive tasks, said Zhang, the one who conducted the study. But when people were told the source of the content, their estimation of work in which humans were involved went up. They expressed human favoritism, as researchers put it. Their assessment of content created by AI, though, didn't change, undermining the notion that people harbor a form of algorithmic aversion. The most direct implication is that consumers really don't mind content that's produced by AI. They're generally okay with it, Zhang said. At the same time, there's great benefit in knowing that humans are involved somewhere along the line, that their fingerprint is present. Companies shouldn't be looking to fully automate people out of the process. I can see people favoring something that they know is reviewed by a person as opposed to only AI. I think that's pretty obvious. And I also agree that people shouldn't be completely automated out of the process. Sometimes AI has hallucinations, so it's always smart to give it one review before finalizing. The most common theme I found throughout these studies was mentioned in the first insight of this study. When people had no information about the source of the marketing or campaign copy, they preferred the results generated by AI. The conclusion I would draw here is not let people know when your copy is AI generated, and that there's a very good chance they'll prefer it over human written content. If you've been following this channel, you know I've covered many AI writers that can write better than humans. If you're new to AI writing and don't know where to start, check out this playlist of my favorite AI writers and subscribe to the channel for new cutting-edge AI software you should be using.